So we got good news and we got bad news. The good news is that the Democrats are finally admitting that they were the ones who in fact caused the government shutdown. And on top of that, they're going to keep fighting, some of them, to keep it shut.
For months and months, Democrats have been fighting to get the Senate to address the healthcare crisis. This bill does nothing to ensure that that crisis is addressed. I am voting no, and I will keep fighting.
Oh, okay. Well, the bad news is now that they are voting to reopen, we're just never going to be able to know how big the sombrero would have gotten on Hakeem Jeffries. Welcome back to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Happy Monday. There is a new record in Congress, and you may be thinking to yourself, oh, yeah, obviously, you're talking about the longest government shutdown ever. Yeah, we know, because our flights were delayed and we've had, problems due to that. No. There is a new record set. All those things are true, sure. But how much the Democrats have gaslit the entire country about the shutdown that they now basically admit they caused, because remember, they wanted to shut it down over the Obamacare subsidies that end at the end of the year. They expire at the end of the year. These were COVID era subsidies. In fact, my guest next actually talked to me about this very issue as soon as the government was shut down. These expire at the end of the year. They were COVID era subsidies, and they, of course, give healthcare money to illegal aliens, which seems like not a good thing for this country. So they were the ones who decided to shut it down over an America Last policy. And then on top of that, they had the audacity to say it was it was Trump, President Trump and MAGA and the Republicans are the ones who shut down the government. And remember, they were like screaming hysterically that Republicans are starving children.
This government shutdown is all theirs. The starving children is going to be on them.
We do not have the power of the minority party in one chamber to be able to get these benefits rolling, except by trying to tell the truth and make it clear that the Republicans are responsible.
Let me be clear. The administration is choosing to starve American children.
No. The lie detector determined that was a lie, ma'am. In fact, I know you guys, if you're watching this show, you're smart. You're smart. I don't have to explain basic math to you. I don't have to explain that, of course, the Republicans needed several Democrats to reach across the aisle, that thing that they ask us to do all the time, reach across the aisle and vote to keep the government open so those children didn't starve. The children that she mentioned that are allegedly starving, well, they wouldn't have starved. They wouldn't be starving if those Democrats had reached across the aisle to keep the government open. And now, after we've heard for 40 freaking days how bad the Republicans are, how the Republicans don't want people to eat. It's almost Thanksgiving and Republicans are starving people. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous how absurd these accusations came. And now that you've got 8 to 10 Democrats coming to their senses, deciding to cross the aisle and help reopen things, it is so crazy. The craziest thing has happened. Democrats are now arguing that, in fact, I guess it was them who were shutting it down all along. And by the way, it's a great thing that the government is shut down, and they're going to keep fighting to keep the government shut down. Wait a second, Chuck. I thought that it was the Republicans' fault. Apparently, according to Chuck Schumer, no, it was actually them all along.
For months and months, Democrats have been fighting to get the Senate to address the healthcare crisis. This bill does nothing to ensure that that crisis is addressed. I am voting no, and I will keep fighting.
And I am voting no. I'm going to keep fighting to keep the government shut down because I don't actually care how many people in my party can tell you guys that we know that families will suffer, but it is the only leverage that we have. I mean, we literally have said it accidentally out loud in public to be broadcast to everyone. I don't understand what the issue is here. Okay. But be that as it may, they are like just epic gaslighters, the Democrats. And the mainstream media, but that's the same thing. So I'd like to take one of their key propaganda tools, The View. And you have to be basically retarded to watch The View unironically. Like, I get it if you're watching it, if you hate watching it, or if you're watching it to like get clips to make them sound stupid, which is the easiest thing to do ever. But if you are watching The View unironically, you're probably already retarded. And so it works on them. It works on, they completely fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. Because just last week, this was the messaging on the government shutdown on The View.
Let's be very clear. They are not going to just talk about health care if the Democrats cave. And I don't think the Democrats should cave to this Republican shutdown because it is the Republican shutdown.
It's a Republican shutdown.
They run the House, they run the Senate, they run the White House. And dare I say, they probably run the Supreme Court of the United States of America.
They run
so there's no question
everything.
that they are in charge and this is their shutdown.
They are in charge. It is their shutdown. They run everything. Don't worry about basic math. Don't worry about the 60 votes needed, even though we only have 53 Republicans in the Senate. Don't worry about that, you dumb little sheep. This is a Republican shutdown. Ooh, yeah, And then today, now all of a sudden, the Democrats are terrible people because they didn't keep the government shut down. What?
So the bottom line is the Democrats went into this after a blue wave out of the American people saying, we do want the opposition. We the working people want the Democratic Party to fight for them. And now they just caved and surrendered. I think Chuck Schumer, his days are over. If he cannot keep his caucus together, he needs to go. He needs to be replaced.
So Chuck Schumer, they are throwing Chuck Schumer out of the party because he couldn't keep his people together to continue keeping the government shut down. Well, hold on, ma'am, and I'm being gracious here, ma'am. How is this a Republican shutdown if you're saying Chuck Schumer is now to blame because he didn't keep his people with him to keep the government shut down? Make it make sense. You actually don't. Please, you will hurt your brain if you try to make it make sense because it doesn't. It doesn't. And then you have Keith Olbermann, who, this is one of my personal favorites. Keith Olbermann, I have a theory that Keith Olbermann actually doesn't have anyone around him in his family who care about him enough to tell him that he needs real help, like actual real mental health help. And I say this as someone who is very skeptical of the mental health industry. As it turns out, I don't know if you realize this, I'm going off on a tangent. As it turns out, they'll just let anyone become a mental health professional, a counselor. You could actually be batshit crazy and you are the one who's become a counselor. But be that as it may, I still think Keith Olbermann could benefit from anyone, to talk about his feelings because he is off the reservation. So he tweeted out Senators Tim Kaine, Senator Durbin, Senator Hassan, and Senator Angus King. These are, of course, some of the senators who are voting with the Republicans to reopen the government. Go F yourselves. Join MAGA. You fit there. Sir? This is a Wendy's. What? They're just trying to reopen the government. I mean, you guys keep talking about how it's really terrible that children are starving, and it's really terrible that SNAP benefits are running out, and all of these morbidly obese women can't get their food. And it's really terrible that the flights are delayed, which, by the way, I agree, all of those things. It's really terrible that air traffic controllers are not getting paid. It's really terrible that we've got people who have been working for free. I mean, retroactively, they'll get their pay, but maybe they're living paycheck to paycheck and it's harming them. I mean, I agree. That was really terrible that people had to endure that. So tell me, what is the messaging in screw you guys for making sure that these people are no longer affected. Go join MAGA? These people, they're just bottom of the barrel bad people with no principles and no values. Just really bad people. You have the liberal media who ran cover for the Democrats for over a month. Since day one, that the Democrats were, those poor Democrats having to suffer through a Republican shutdown with the Republicans in power, and there was nothing that the Democrats could do. The poor Democrats who are not at all responsible for the government shutdown. And now, this same liberal media who ran cover for the Democrats for so long, they're very, very mad that the Democrats voted to, reopen the government.
For 40 days, you shut the government down, and now you're going to open the government up. And what did you get in return?
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. After the pain you inflicted, people were willing to take the. I talked to union workers from TSA. I said, "I'll take the pain if it's going to help me to get health insurance subsidies paid." So you're getting nothing in return. I don't know how. And you just won an election on Tuesday in huge numbers.
Now, we do agree on one thing. Me and that gentleman. What's his face? What did it say his face was? His name? Keith? I don't know. Anywho, we do agree on one thing. It was all for nothing. It was literally all for nothing. Dean Obadiah, who clearly I read every day over at MSNBC as a daily columnist. Will be sure to catch Dean's work. But we do agree on that one thing. It was all for nothing. The Democrats did this all for nothing. Yes, it was the Democrats. Now I'm glad we can all agree on this. But it was all for nothing. And MSNBC cannot figure out how did Trump win this thing? How did that happen?
It's strange, Dean, to go back to the original sort of part of this conversation of whether he is a good deal maker. I mean, in a way, it seems like the president is kind of getting what he wanted 40 days ago when all this started. He was out there saying that, this is all about Democrats trying to give health care to illegal immigrants. He just said that to reporters moments ago, repeated that refrain that Democrats had actually very successfully pushed back against. Then there's all this energy. In the wake of the election on Tuesday, the president made remarks saying basically, wow, Republicans are being harmed by all of this, acknowledging that he was on his back foot. And now here he is winning again? How did he do it?
I mean, it is so beautiful. Art of the deal, baby. Art of the deal. It turns out you can just hold strong. We voted the president in November last year because we wanted this type of leadership. So you guys all of the children who were starving, all of the SNAP benefits, all of the air traffic controllers, you guys had them suffer. You had them endure pain for literally no reason. You could have just avoided all of this. And you did it for absolutely no reason. And I hope the American people see that. I hope they understand that. This was all for nothing. It didn't have to happen. Okay? And by the way, because I never miss an opportunity to talk about how terrible Senator John Cornyn is, John Cornyn almost didn't make it. Do you know why? Because John Cornyn was out of town. John Cornyn, after John Thune said, guys, don't leave D.C. because we're going to vote on this. John Cornyn, it's like you have literally one job. Actually, John Cornyn, I'm sure, enriches himself to quite the degree of outside sources. But you have one job, John. You got to be there and you got to vote. And John Cornyn was not there. He had a flight delay. Listen, John's got people to see. John's got donors he needs to go to and request it. Hey, would you mind setting your money on fire to donate to my campaign for Senate? Because Ken Paxton's going to beat me. Would you mind? John Cornyn is a disgrace to this country and a disgrace to Texas. And I just wanted to make sure everyone knew John Cornyn delayed the entire thing last night because he had places to be. Oh, you expected him to take the Senate position seriously? He stopped doing that like 30 years ago. Okay. Make sure that you share the show, Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube, even if you're watching this somewhere else. Hi, welcome from Blaze TV or what's the other place, Stephen? Why am I drawing a blank?
Pluto?
Why does this run? Pluto, thank you. If you're watching us on Pluto, if you're wherever you're watching us, if you're listening on audio podcast, hi, welcome. Make sure you subscribe to the audio podcast. Leave us a rating and review. We would appreciate that. But also go over to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered and hit the like button, hit the bell, and subscribe so that you don't miss a thing. Want to thank our, and comment. Thank you, Stephen. It'll help us in the algorithm, which we all know is stacked against us. Want to thank our sponsor, Jase Medical. So, Jase Medical, here's something that people don't talk about often enough, I think. 1 in 4 people are infected with a parasite. Yeah, you don't have to be in a third world country to actually have parasites. It's really, really common. It's actually very common. And you might not ever know if you are affected with a parasite. And Jase Medical is now offering a very easy, affordable way to access ivermectin, which can help with that. Because when it comes to your health, being prepared really shouldn't be complicated at all. They've got a parasite kit that includes ivermectin and mebendazole. Did I say that correctly? I don't know. Someone tell me in the comments. These are 2 proven ingredients that work together for an efficient, effective parasite cleanse. Now, don't look in the toilet, okay? Take it, but just don't look. Because what you see might alarm you, but you will know that instead of inside of you, it is outside of you. They also offer new topical ivermectin gel and cream options that treat skin conditions like rosacea and much more. They prescribe it online. They ship it directly to your door, so you have it when you need it. I actually tell people you should do a parasite cleanse at least once a year. Make sure, go check them out, jase.com. Enter promo code Sara at checkout for a discount on your order. If you keep thinking, I really should do that, I'm not sure where to go, where to turn, I've just told you, okay? Get the parasite kit from Jase Medical, jase.com, promo code Sara. So last week on the show, actually for a while now, we've been trying to sound the alarm about the Islamification of this country. Texas also in particular, but this country that is taking place. This is a big plan, this big master plan for Muslims to infiltrate and take over the country. By the way, that's not me saying it. It's them. If you have not seen that episode yet, go over and give it a watch. But part of what we talked about in that episode is how they are trying to take over our politics. And in their words, again, go and watch it. In their words, they want to use the tax-deductible mosques to build the voter bloc. They want to use their CARE C4. This was the CARE executive director saying they want to use the C4 of their organization to lobby, draft, and fight laws. They want to use their PACs to fund candidates. And they want to use super PACs for unlimited money to flip races. Now, there are not a lot of people who will actually stand up and call out corrupt organizations like CARE and call out what is actually happening right before our very eyes for fear of being called an Islamophobe. Oh no, a mean name. I guess I'll just stand by and watch my civilization be completely destroyed. So when it comes to CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, they of course have reported terrorist ties to organizations like the Muslim Brotherhood, also Hamas, and Representative Chip Roy has introduced a bill to strip tax-exempt status from charities, nonprofits, with terror ties. Joining me now is Representative Roy, also, by the way, running for Attorney General of Texas. Representative, thank you so much for joining me. I guess I want to talk about but there's several things I want to talk about on this topic with you. But I guess I will start with, why is it that there's only a handful of you in Congress who are willing to stand up and talk about this type of thing that's happening right before our very eyes?
Yeah, Sarah, great to be on first. Thank you. Second of all, I would say there's 2 reasons. One is maybe more cynical than the other. I think if I'm giving the benefit of the doubt, I think there's a lot of folks who don't realize or haven't realized until lately how bad it truly is. I gave a speech on the House floor about, 18 months ago, which was a buildup of stuff that I'd been thinking about and looking into and talking to folks for, years, frankly. And I finally just gave a speech about how bad it is in London, how bad it is in Paris, that it's coming to the United States. It's not just Dearborn, it's not just Minneapolis, it's Texas, et cetera. And I'm going to tell you, we'll get to CARE in a minute and the C3 status, but they were deluging my office with phone calls. They were, harassing my staff and basically trying to target us, which is what they're going to do. And you know it. And I think that gets to my second point. I think some members of Congress just, they don't want that hassle. They don't want that headache. It's a lot easier for them just to, go introduce some bills and do their voting and go do their regular dinners and things. And they don't want to go rock the boat. But look, the last point I'll make is, and I think it's actually important, what's happened with Mamdani isn't the canary in the coal mine. It's the 4-alarm fire that's currently raging right here, right now. And you know it, and I know it, Dallas-Fort Worth area with Epic. Yeah. But it's not just Epic. Like, we're getting caught in that. That's kind of a shiny object. It's bad, but there's this massive Islamic center in Houston. There's 300 mosques throughout the state of Texas. There's more mosques being built in Texas every day than any other state in the union. So this is purposeful, and that's the last point. There are organizations deeply funded, widely funded, with ties back to Middle East funding, but also radical Marxists, because that's what people don't understand. This is the combination element of Marxism and Islamism, and it is purposeful, and they're targeting the United States of America specifically to take us over.
Yeah, the Red Green Alliance. This is the Red Green Alliance. It's like this awful spinoff that nobody ever asked for from the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Like, we did not want this. Why do we now see another tactical, coming together of the progressive radical left and, of course, Islam because they have one common goal, which is, of course, to destroy Western civilization. So it's very frustrating to watch them come together and do this. And you still have, it's 2025, and you are having to introduce this bill that this has been able to go on for so long. It's just, it's insane to me. It's so absurd that this has not already been addressed. But I'm thankful, I'm grateful that you're doing it. So for people who I try to talk about it, I feel like sometimes people think I'm being hyperbolic. I'm told I'm a little dramatic at times. I don't know. But so coming from you, tell people, what kinds of activities with regard to CARE, what kinds of activities have they been involved in? Like, what are they doing that this would, of course, stop?
Well, you know it, and your listeners are actually quite educated, so they know it too, to a certain degree. But look, what we've got is an organization who, for example, one of their leaders was out bragging on and praising the October 7th attacks, which again involved Americans, and it involved clear terrorist hits on our allies. And then number two, you've got individuals at CARE who are, or at least an individual who is an unindicted co-conspirator from the Holy Land Foundation case right there in DFW, which goes back, 10 or 15 years, and was an early precursor, by the way. That was the canary in the coal mine. And frankly, we didn't take heed as much as we should. We viewed it, and I will admit, I viewed it as kind of a little bit of a one-off case. Oh, thank gosh, we got in there, we were investigating that. But I didn't really think about it early enough as the assault on our way of life that it really represents. And I started studying this over time. And you talk about about the bill that I introduced last week to strip the C3 status. I've talked about this for a while. I've got dozens of bills that I talk about that I think would be a good idea. But, you kind of don't think, oh, well, I'll get to that. Or it's kind of, well, shouldn't we be doing that anyway? And then I realized it was like, well, we need to do it. Like, go file the bill and go make the case. By the way, that's the same strategy I took with the designating cartels as terrorist organizations, which I did 5 years ago, or getting us out of WHO, or getting us out of UNRWA, or getting us out of the United Nations. I'm the author of all of those bills in the House, because these are all things that are undermining an America First agenda and undermining our national security and sovereignty.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And again, let me go back to CARE, and then I do want to talk to you about Epic City while I have you. With regard to CARE and the executive director, he gave this big, huge speech that we played on my show yesterday where he said, they're playing the long game. By the year 2050, he's like, by the year 2050, we'll have 100,000 journalists. We'll have 100,000 filmmakers. We'll have 100,000 lawyers. We'll have 100,000, political candidates. And you see them playing the long game. And so it's like, guys, if there are not a ton of Chip Roys in Congress, and instead they are replaced by a Muslim super PAC who are going to advocate for God knows what, we're in big trouble. And that is why we need to address this right freaking now. I'm so glad that you are one of the few who is addressing it. So on the topic of Epic City, just while I have you, You mentioned it. It is, of course, for those who, if it's your first time watching, welcome. By the way, Epic City is being built here outside of, it's in DFW. It's outside of a little sleepy town called Josephine. They sometimes pick these little sleepy towns where no one's paying attention to what's going on and buy up all this land and then build these Muslim, all-inclusive compounds. But they don't say, they're not like, hey, only Muslims are welcome. So they try to skirt around these discrimination laws. As Attorney General, if you win the Attorney General race, Chip, what are you going to do about this compound? Because I realize that you have to operate within the confines of the law. But this is a real danger. And by the way, for those who are listening, it just came out from the Collin County Judge Chris Hill that they are now quietly renaming the Epic City the Meadow. Yeah.
Meadow.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's the same people. They just think we're just going to rebrand and people aren't going to look into it. Well, it's the same thing, the same crappy thing, just with a different name. How will you respond to Epic City Meadow, whatever you want to call it, if you win as AG?
Yeah, well, first of all, in no particular order, I would do and extend on the good work that Attorney General Paxton is doing. And for example, you pursue things like securities violations, right? They're looking into that. Or you look into Deceptive Trade Practices Act, or there's myriad statutes that we look into. And if we either have original jurisdiction, do something with it, or if we don't, make the case, demonstrate that it exists, and then go to the local district attorneys and say that you need to deal with that. So that's one thing. Just, go dive deeply into current law and find every way in which you can say, wait a second, guys, this is not the way to do it. Number two, you got to use the bully pulpit, and you got to use it loudly. You got to be willing to go there. You got to be willing to call it out. You got to be willing to shout it from the mountaintops for the entire state. But you also have to be able to go fight, and I'll say this is the third point, the core constitutional questions that we've got to flush out. And by that, I mean, and look, I'm the chairman of the subcommittee on the Constitution, on the House Judiciary Committee. I'm pretty well versed on these things.
You are.
But we've got to go dive deeply into it so that people aren't hiding behind the First Amendment.
Yes.
Because Sharia law is inconsistent with the
Yes.
First Amendment. And you've got to have people who are willing to say it, be willing to call it out, and then be willing to litigate over it or back up litigation if other people are doing it, right? It depends on who has standing. So you got to go work all that out. But those are all the things that you would do and more. But I do think the bully pulpit point and the being willing to talk about it is really important. Because the last thing I'll say is, I said it before, the Epic City thing is a huge problem, but again, it's a little bit shiny. Again, there's the Islamic Center in Houston. There's all of these different communities. Got to go look at how people are buying up land. And I'll say one other thing. There's another issue that we need to deal with, which is the corporatification of Texas. That is big corporations that come in, they buy up lands. We've complained about the Chi-Coms. By the way, that was another bill that I introduced. I was the first to introduce a bill to ban the Chinese Communist Party from buying American land. We should expand that. Really, honestly, why do non-American citizens buy our land? Why do these big corporations come in and buy up our ranches and our cattle and our meat packing plants? Why do they get to tell us how to live? Why does a private equity shop now own Whataburger? Like, you can joke about it, but it's frustrating.
Yeah.
And this is Texas, and we should make sure that we own Texas, not a bunch of folks in the Middle East that are coming in and offering their money to universities, and then they buy up a 10,000-acre ranch and they start building Muslim centers. We should fight that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I appreciate you, Representative. Can you tell everyone if they want to learn more about your campaign, if they want to help, if they want to donate, where should they go?
Sure, chiproy.com, CHIPROY.com, or ChipRoyTX on X/Twitter. Great to be on. Look, this is a huge fight. I'm actually going back to D.C. tomorrow because we got to go move the bill that hopefully the Senate's going to move tonight or tomorrow. And get busy, moving an agenda now that we've been kind of out for a few weeks. But we'll be campaigning hard virtually when I'm up in D.C. and continuing to hit the road around Texas over the next few months.
Great. I appreciate it. Yeah, I know. I was going to ask, are you excited to actually get back to work? You've had a 40-day vacation. So, geez, get a job, Chip.
Yeah, well, some of us have been working hard during that stretch. By the way, I do think the president deserves a great deal of credit and what the leadership has been doing to lean into this fight. We should go on offense on healthcare. The Democrats have given away the game, right? They've outed themselves by virtue of their crying foul over these subsidies, which is the only way that they can make their Obamacare thing even halfway work while they enrich insurance companies. But that's a different topic for a different day. But
Yeah, no, and I appreciate it. I will never forget when it was like a light bulb moment for me when you were on my show when the government shutdown first started, and you're like, it's not about the subsidies for the people. This is about lining the pocketbooks of all of these insurance companies. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. We can't let that happen. So I'm really glad that everyone on our side held strong, and I'm really grateful for the president's leadership, and I'm grateful for you, sir. I appreciate you so much.
Well, thanks, Sarah. I appreciate that. And I look forward to go back to D.C. to answer your question. And look, again, the president's leading. We got to deliver. We got a year left. We got to deliver to guarantee a midterm victory so that we get the full force of his 4 years.
Amen. Amen. Your lips to God's ears. Thank you, sir. We'll talk soon.
All right. See you, Sarah.
See ya. Okay. So we have my Manna White over here just waiting so patiently to bring me the most delicious whiskey. I wonder if Chip Roy likes whiskey. I don't know. I'll ask him next time. The most delicious whiskey. And the thing about this whiskey, if you like whiskey, have I said that this is straight bourbon whiskey? Have I said that enough times yet? If you love bourbon, whiskey, whatever, genre you like, this is American-made Flying Ace whiskey. And so it's made from American grown grains. It's as American as you can get. And this is an American company. They partner with companies like Folds of Honor, who are, of course, offering scholarships to the families of America's fallen. And they're just a really great American company producing great bourbon. So go there, check them out. By the way, they've got different flavors. I prefer it straight up right here. Oh, we got some ASMR going on. Yeah, go to flyingacespirits.com. Use promo code BLAZE for free shipping. That is flyingacespirits.com, promo code BLAZE. So obviously, President Trump has been attacked by the fake news for a decade now, actually. And he talks a lot about, how they're out to get him. And I think they use that as additional ammunition. Like, look at this guy. He's crazy over here talking about how we're constantly attacking him. What is he talking about? Well, it's just that we continue to stack up all of the proof. Let me give you one of the most egregious examples lately of the mainstream media doing anything to paint him in a negative light. The BBC in the UK, they aired this documentary about January 6th. And interestingly enough, they intentionally edited the footage in a way to make it seem like Donald Trump actually did try to incite an insurrection. Here's what they did.
They played the following clip.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell.
But Trump didn't, in fact, say this at all. The BBC spliced together two clips that took place 54 minutes apart. So let's go through it again.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you.
Now, see there, between Capitol and, that's a cut. Here's what Trump actually said.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
It's different. It wasn't until nearly an hour later that he then said the second part of the BBC's version.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we fight. We fight like hell.
By the way, he also said, peacefully and patriotically make our voices heard, which, I don't know, seems to be an important point to make here. Joining me to discuss, we have Matthew Mausdon, Blaze TV contributor and actor and producer extraordinaire, along with Logan Hall, Blaze Media's digital strategist, who, of course, is joining us remotely because he moved away, because he was like, oh, I'm going to move. But I appreciate both of you being here. Matt, obviously, you're from the UK, so let me let you weigh in first. Tell me, who is the Telegraph? Like, is that the conservative? I just find it interesting. Or is that Australian? I can't remember.
It's British.
UK?
Yeah, it's British.
So they clearly don't like each other.
No, and what's really important about this, and to set the scene for for Americans that are watching is that this show is called Panorama, and Panorama was kind of like when 60 Minutes actually meant something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the heavyweight, it's the real thing that people would look to as an authoritative source.
Yeah.
And that's why this is so bad. And that's why this is really caused ripples all across the UK, because Panorama has been a staple for many, many years. I mean, I know this when I was growing up, that used to come on, and it was a very, very serious program. And clearly they've lied. I mean, that's what they've done. And now what's really frustrating is, and of course I come from that background, from film and television, and they're saying it was a mistake. It's a mistake. Like, you're writing something and you kind of make a mistake when you're writing, you have to go back. No, they deceptively re-edited it to make it look bad.
No. Someone just hit fast forward on accident, and they didn't realize it, and their elbow was on it for all of that time, and then oops.
And then it's just edited together.
Oops.
This is a giant scandal, and one of the reasons why it's so big is because in the United Kingdom, you have to pay for your TV license.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah, and the TV license money goes to the BBC. Right. It doesn't go to ITV or Channel 4. And this has been an area where people for very, very long have been saying, look, the DEI, the woke stuff, it's not being what it was intentionally meant to be when it started out, and people don't want to pay the license fee anymore.
Yeah, Logan. I mean, this is the UK, the government. You are actually funding this government-run media that, as it turns out, is just completely defaming Donald Trump.
Yeah, the fake news media is the enemy of the people. Great to be joining you both. I miss being there in person. I will say the one thing I don't miss is we got snow here. The first day of snow was today. So. Joining you remotely, I'm a little bit less upset about that because we got our snow. I've got the gray MAGA hat on to commemorate that. Of course. But I think to kind of harken this back to the UK, obviously this is dystopian, it's crazy. But when you look at C.S. Lewis's, one of his best books, That Hideous Strength, where he talks about he sets up this picture where this kind of global, scientific, evil, leftist government takes over the UK. And he has a part in there where he sets up what the journalist coverage will look like of the system. Mm-hmm. So all of these people who are being abused by the government kind of break out, and they stage a little bit of resistance. And it's completely like patriotic. They love the country. They're just trying to like still kind of hold on to their humanity. The government journalists stage this, and they end up writing the report, and they're like, these maniacs from that broke out of our little weird system staged a terrorist attack last night, and they're destroying our country. We have to put these people down, and we have to use this event to establish more control over the system. So this is very similar, not any way dissimilar from the journalist coverage of January 6th, maybe here, but also from across the pond. It is very dystopian. It is what C.S. Lewis warned about to talk about the British angle.
Yeah, I listen, this stuff like this happens, and I'm like, sue the hell out of these people. And apparently President Trump is threatening to do that, threatening a $1 billion lawsuit. $1 billion. But I mean, I seriously, I'm like, I think the way I've said this multiple times, not just about defamation, not just about the way that they deceptively edit, what conservatives say when they go on interviews, but also, I mean, all of the evil that they're doing, the genital mutilation that they were doing to minors until President Trump put a stop to it, all of the sue the hospitals, sue the news organizations, sue the hell out of all of these people, and that is when this will stop, because they're still going to be evil, just ghoulish people. They're still going to be that. But if you can threaten them by impacting their bottom line, which is what it's all about, and impacting their profit, maybe they'll just at least shut the hell up enough to not be doing things like this. Maybe they'll stop, abusing minors with the sterilization of an entire generation if you just threaten to impact their bottom dollar. It's just really, I am like so full on just sue the hell out of all of these people, and that's when this stops, is really just how I feel. All right, let's go ahead, and we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more, but I want to thank our sponsor, Masa Chips, my Mana White. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you. So Logan, since you're not here, you don't get to have you tried these chips yet?
No.
Okay, try them.
All right.
So these are...
I've tried them before too.
Aren't they so good?
They're good.
They're so good. Okay, so Masa Chips are, for those of you who you're Maha, like me, you don't want to go to the grocery store and get the grocery store chips, because they use cheap seed oils. There's a bunch of additives and it's chemicals and it's not good. Okay, so Masa decided to bring flavor and quality back to the party. Their tortilla chips are made with just 3 ingredients: organic nixtamalized corn, he loves it, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. They are the best. They're dense. It's a dense, crunchy chip, right?
Tastes like real food.
That's what I'm saying. It tastes like, you can taste the quality. It tastes like high-quality chips, and I know that sounds weird, but what I'm telling you is you got to go buy some, okay? And then you're going to understand what I'm talking about. If you're ready to give Masa, or Vandy, by the way, that's their potato chip, a try, use code Gonzalez for 25% off your first order at masachips.com or vandycrisps.com, or you can click the link in the video description or scan the QR code that you see right there to claim this offer. And by the way, these are both now available nationwide at your local Sprouts supermarket if you don't feel like placing the online order. Point is, just go pick up a couple of bags before they're gone, or order them online. You want these in your life. masachips.com or vandycrisps.com, promo code Gonzalez. Well, President Trump stopped by the Washington Commanders Detroit Lions game in Maryland yesterday, and it was pretty epic. He went up to the commentary booth, and they brought up it's a sweet moment. They brought up his history with the game, actually.
How old were you when you started playing football, and what were some of the life lessons you took out of it?
Well, I did. I played tight end. But I mean, it was not quite football like this. It was a little bit easier.
We were trying to look up your stats, and we wanted to know how many touchdowns did you have back then?
Oh,
6,
is that right?
7?
I'm not sure I had any. I'm not sure. It's a long time ago. But
there you
no,
are.
I did.
Uniform number,
Wow.
there you go. 85. There you go.
At least you realize that I never tell a lie, right?
It's like I don't understand how people hate this guy. He's just so lovable. Let me play one more for you over in the commentator's booth. He's giving a play-by-play commentary. It's very cute.
Would you like to call a play?
Well, I would like to do that if you'd like me to. And let's see, we have a very important, I think this is a very important couple of plays.
Here we go. Second and 7.
You're right, 2nd and 7. Let's see what happens. Whoa.
That's prosecuting it.
Not bad.
Takes it down to the 5-yard line.
That's right. That's right. Good runner.
There we go.
Runner.
This is a very big play, don't you think?
I think
they have to get a touchdown. Let's put it differently. They just have to get a touchdown.
Thanks for the visit.
I'd love to have your job someday. Thank you, man.
Thank you,
wouldn't threaten
President.
that because he will take it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, he will. By the way, the Lions wide receiver, he pointed President Trump out, found him, pointed to him, and then did the Trump dance to honor him.
Awesome.
So it's just a really fun. I don't understand why these people are so broken by him, Logan. He's just a sweet, lovable grandpa saving the country.
So true. I agree. There's also something very Roman about these athletes who love Trump, or at least maybe they don't love him, but they pay homage to him, where you've seen this in the UFC fights, you see it in football a lot, where when Trump's there, they will pay homage to him. They'll do the little Trump dance. they appreciate that he is there. That is a big deal. The leader of your country, you're kind of paying homage to him. You make a big play or you throw a big punch, and you say, "Hey, this guy is running our country. I respect him." It's a big thing. I think Trump is one of those guys. I think he wants to unite the country really, really badly.
Yeah.
I just I think the left is determined to make that impossible. So it's very tough when he wants to go out there and make public shows. On the weekends, he's working all the time during the week, and then on the weekends he wants to go and kind of take it easy and like show up at these things and do what he can to unite the country. But I don't know if we're too far gone for that. I hope we're not.
I hope we're not too, especially with I want to play one more clip here, and then Matt, I want to get your thoughts as well. President Trump, he was leaving, and there was a crowd that was saying bye to him, and there was a little boy who clearly was raised right, I'll put it that way, by his family, and was just like, thank you so much for making the country great again. And it was just a very sweet exchange that President Trump had with this child. Thank you for making America great again. President Trump says, come here.
Thank you, Mr. President. Unbelievable. Thank you. Have a good time.
He said, thank you, Mr. President. I'm honored. Shook his hand, and the president gave him a challenge coin. It's so sweet. He cares. It's just undeniable.
The kids are all right.
Yeah.
The kids are all right. I think that what's moving about that is you're looking at the way that this country used to be, and we can have it again. To Logan's point, I'd like to highlight this, is that sports are the ultimate meritocracy. If you are not good, you do not get on the field. And I think that is why so many sportsmen love him, because they, of course, there's always going to be the die-hard in the wall, like the lefties, but really every single one of those guys work their asses off to get on that field, and they know what it's like. They know the blood, sweat, and tears, and that's why they appreciate Trump so much, because that's what he's about, meritocracy, not about woke DEI BS. And yeah, look, I mean, you see kids like that. There are really good Americans, and we need to see more of that, and he appreciates it.
Yeah, Logan, I would imagine that fast forward into the future with your children, because I'm looking at this and I'm like, that's how I want my kid to act in that moment. Very respectful, looks him in the eye, shakes his hand, and it's like we need way more of these children.
Yeah, well, we're trying. I'm doing my best. We have our first
step it up, dude.
We have our first one due in February. We're trying. I think one of my favorite quotes from Trump is that he says, "Love. It's about love," and that's what these people are doing. It is about love for your country. It's about love for your people. It's about love for the things. Even when you're not distracted by politics, you can all kind of sort of come together and enjoy something. And I think that's one of the great things about sports. I don't like this, the anti-sports kind of conservatives were like, we need to just focus on politics all the time and never have any fun. No,
right.
The woke scolds on the left have lost because of that, and we should not follow them.
Yeah, you're right. I love that is one of your favorite quotes from President Trump. One of mine is that Barney Frank's nipples were protruding.
So true.
It's just what comes to mind. It's just what comes to mind.
It looks disgusting.
Yes, protruding is very disgusting. All right, Logan Hall, by the way, congrats on the new arrival coming soon. Matt Marsden, I appreciate you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.